What's up, Taiwan? I'm Jeremy Olivier with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan is carrying out a new kind of civil defense drill in the south of the country. The exercise is taking a whole-of-society approach, and the goal is to make sure everyone is better prepared for any kind of emergency. Reese Ayers is in Tainan with the details.
Explosions and tsunamis are being simulated here in Tainan at this new kind of whole-of-society civil defense drill. Almost 1,000 people, a mix of civilians and civil defense experts, have joined the drills. But absent today is the military, which usually plays a big role in disaster response. More than just demonstrations, these exercises aim to simulate actual disaster scenarios, forcing the public to improvise and respond in real time, just as they would in a real-life emergency. Some of the scenarios played out include an explosion at a tourist center that injured hundreds, setting up an impromptu medical facility, and evacuating civilians after a catastrophic earthquake triggers a tsunami warning. With the southern city of Tainan chosen to host the exercises due to its proximity to the coast. President Lai Ching-te and Vice President Bi Kim-hsiao have come to oversee the events. Officials say they aim to host similar exercises across the country. Taiwan is being increasingly threatened by China, and these drills are designed to prepare Taiwan for any eventuality, be it natural disaster or an attack from China. Scott Huang, Jaime Okan, and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
Drills like these are becoming more central to Taiwan's defense strategy. But what does whole-of-society defense mean? To find out, Jaime Okan spoke to Raymond Guo, a security analyst with the RAND Corporation.
So Taiwan is jumping fully on this idea of a whole-of-society defense. What does that mean, and why is it important specifically to Taiwan?
So whole-of-society defense is actually part of a group of concepts which we might call total defense. You see this in a lot of different countries. Israel is probably the most kind of iconic example, but you also have many of the Baltic states, Finland, Singapore, even South Korea to some extent. The idea is that you're a small country facing a really big potential aggressor. How do you marshal the resources in order to be able to respond to this? How do you create defense in depth, especially when you don't have that much territory, you're facing a much larger opponent? Also, I think very critically, to be able to protect and shelter your own people. And then also to keep continuity of government operations. So not just where is your leadership, will they be okay, but also can you keep the lights on so that your society can still function, maybe at a lower level, but can still function despite a massive conflict coming at you.
When we look at the way that Taiwan responds to emergency situations like an earthquake or typhoons, we do see the military play a very big role in these kinds of operations. What is the benefit of letting the civilian side handle these kinds of situations?
So in an event of a military conflict specifically, you want your frontline troops to be at the front line. You know, if let's just say it's an invasion, well, you want the conventional forces, your best trained military forces, to be, fighting back on the beachheads and pushing the people and pushing the invaders out. The more that the military has to divert its attention towards, say, things like civilian protection or logistics, the less it's able to kind of move the most skilled troops up the chain to be at the point of combat or points of combat. The more that reserve forces or civil society can take up some of these civilian protection, logistics and resources, sustainment missions, the easier, the more the Taiwanese military can flow those forces to where they need to be.
And how does this help the average person in Taiwan who's maybe looking at this drill for the first time and wondering, what should I be doing in the event of an emergency?
Well, so it helps in a number of different ways, right? One is just if the bombs are falling, where do people go? Where should they go? I don't know if I would be able to say, and I want to be clear, this is a really difficult thing. I don't think any country has ever had their civil defense system tested yet. Obviously major war, or I guess within the kind of the modern era. All the countries I mentioned earlier are still trying to figure their way through this. No one has a perfect answer. So at the very least, it's admirable that Taiwan is really kind of, the Lai administration is focusing and making this a priority.
That was Raymond Guo with the RAND Corporation. The Taiwan People's Party says its founder, Ko Wen-je, may be experiencing a kidney-related medical emergency. His party says he has blood in his urine and is experiencing nausea. His wife has held a press conference calling for urgent medical care. Ke is currently detained on corruption charges stemming from his time as Taipei mayor and alleged misuse of funds during his presidential run last year.
他是一个蛮能够忍耐的人，结果到今天他会跟我讲说，请律师转告我陈佩琪去在台北医院去帮他申请他的病历，因为他对他的那个腰痛跟那个 chronic pain， 就是可能就是已经没有办法忍受。
Ke's wife is applying for medical leave for him. Taiwan's interior minister is among many Taiwanese people who were reported to China's Taiwan Affairs Office for, quote, malicious actions. The office has launched a dedicated email tip line asking people to report what it calls Taiwanese separatist thugs and accomplices. In just a matter of hours, it received over 300 complaints. Among those reported was Taiwan's interior minister, Liu Shifang, and a few ruling Democratic Progressive Party lawmakers. This comes just a day after a Chinese influencer accused of promoting military unification with China was forced to leave Taiwan. Liu's ministry oversees immigration matters, and she was outspoken about the influencer's case. Police in Taiwan are on high alert as rumors swirl that one of the country's biggest gangs, the Bamboo Union, is getting ready to elect a new leader. The venue for the vote remains unclear, but one option was apparently inside the halls of power. John Van Triest explains.
Tension builds outside the headquarters of the Chinese Unification Promotion Party. Dozens of police stand guard as news cameras roll. All are wondering the same thing. Will party leader and organized crime figure White Wolf show up?
我们在现场部署的60余名警力，我们针对出入大楼的人员进行相关的身份查抄。
With his support for Taiwan's unification with China and his underworld ties, White Wolf, real name Zhang Anle, is used to the attention. He's known for his high rank in one of Taiwan's biggest gangs, the Bamboo Union, and for his 10-year stint in a U.S. prison for drug smuggling. But there's a new controversy around him and his associates that has powerful people trading accusations and police across Greater Taipei on alert. Exactly what happened is unclear, but the rumor is that White Wolf and other bosses in his triad met Tuesday to vote for a new leader after their chief boss's death in February. The original venue, a restaurant inside the legislature. White Wolf himself says the gathering was for some old friends catching up, none of the rumored gang business.
大家老兄弟去帮主的事情有没有定案呢？没有。
The government abruptly shut the restaurant down for the day, forcing a change in location. But just the idea of a gang choosing its next leader inside the halls of power has caused an uproar. Some in the Democratic Progressive Party have accused Speaker Han Kuo-yu of enabling organized crime. But some in Han's party, the Kuomintang, say the restaurant is open to all. As that argument plays out, the questions become when and where the gang's election might take place. Police have spread out, but supposed plans have come out only to be canceled more than once. So far, White Wolf has been silent, and the reporters gathered outside the headquarters of his pro-China party, hoping for answers, left disappointed.
本来今天就要澄清昨天的事，结果你们今天这个阵仗他就不来了，新生代的很不尊重他嘛，所以说他不可能去主导主联邦任何事情。
Police say they're still ready to pounce whenever the gang does hold a vote.
这个是挑战这个公权力。那现场如果胆敢宣布帮主事情，我们会现场做立即逮捕。那根据这个组织犯罪条例跟刑法，我们一定会采取最强力的一个作为。
But organized crime runs deep in Taiwan. In the roughly 70-year-old Bamboo Union gang, police face a persistent opponent. Andy Xue and John Van Triest for TaiwanPlus.
All cars and related parts going to the U.S. will now be subject to tariffs. It's the latest move by U.S. President Donald Trump as he looks to reset trade imbalances with other countries. Joyce Zhang reports.
Another play in Washington's America First agenda. U.S. President Donald Trump has made good on his threat and imposed up to 25% tariffs on all auto imports to the U.S., a move Trump says makes up for American business taken away by other countries.
Over the years, they've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe, and frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. So we'll effectively be charging a 25% tariff But if you build your car in the United States, there is no tariff.
Last year, the U.S. imported about $240 billion worth of cars, mainly from Mexico, South Korea, and Japan. Though Trump is betting the move will revive U.S. car production, auto industry experts warn the tariffs will only make foreign cars more expensive for American buyers. On top of taxing finished cars, Trump is also targeting car parts, which could even include things like screws, and put Taiwan in the crosshairs.
因为台湾出口汽车到美国是不多，但是我们出口到美国汽车零组件是很多，特别是台湾在非原厂品牌的汽车零组件这个部分，在世界竞争力是非常强的。
Like many U.S. allies and partners, Taiwan has been bracing for hits from Trump as he looks to wipe U.S. trade imbalances. Next week, Trump is set to unveil his reciprocal tariff plan, a sort of tax price match focused against nations Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has called the Dirty 15. Stopping short of listing out the countries directly, it's understood to be the top 15% of countries who run large trade surpluses with the U.S., Taiwan among them. Taipei says it cannot be sure Trump's tariffs will affect Taiwan. Lawmakers here grilling Deputy Economy Minister Cynthia Jiang, asking for a clear plan since the numbers say otherwise. Jiang remaining confident in U.S.-Taiwan ties.
因为台美的关系、经贸关系非常的密切，其实从川普还没有上任之前，我们就密切观察川普的相关的这个言论。然后呢，他上任之后，因为台美经贸沟通管道很多，我们都会跟他们说明台美经贸关系的重要性。
Taipei says it must wait for Washington's announcement set for April 2nd before making any sort of evaluation, much less a response, leaving it to Trump to make the first move. Chris Ma and Joyce Sin for TaiwanPlus.
In South Korea, an appeals court has overturned a conviction against the country's main opposition leader, allowing him to run for president. Seoul's High Court reversed a ruling that found Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung guilty of making false statements during a 2021 parliamentary audit. If the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol is upheld, South Korea will hold a snap presidential election, where Lee is currently leading in the polls. North Korea is testing suicide drones empowered by artificial intelligence. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un supervised tests of the new weapons. He says AI capabilities in unmanned warfare are his priorities. North Korea's news agency reported he also inspected drones and other equipment for scouting, disrupting communications, and direct attacks. South Korea says the components may have connections to Russia.
내부 그 장치들과 그런 부품들은 러시아와 연관성이 있을 것으로 보고는 있고 그 기종 자체는 북한이 보유하고 있던 것을 개량하는 것이죠.
Russia previously gave North Korea anti-air missiles in return for Pyongyang's help with the war in Ukraine. A wind power project in central Taiwan has been scrapped after failing to pass an environmental test. Residents in Changhua County say the noise from the wind turbines would greatly impact their quality of life. The assessment committee found that the project poses a flood risk and that the turbines could also threaten the habitat of several rare animal species. Taiwan currently has about 400 onshore wind turbines, with more than 100 of those in Changhua. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more of our stories. Finally, take a look at these cherry blossoms in Tokyo, where tourists and locals are taking in the colorful trees. I'm Jeremy Olivier. Take care and see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, follow TaiwanPlus on socials. Pika!